Well, that was quite the foreshadowing in this episode of Assassination Classroom. So we come to find out, or it's kind of, implied, it's not really 100% confirmed, but it's implied, that Koro-Sensei was once a human. I had my suspicions, I really did. I had my suspicions that Koro-Sensei might have been a human or something like that, because he did say in, like, the first couple episodes that he was born on Earth. So if he was born on Earth, and he looks like he does, I was assuming either he was like an alien born on Earth, or he was a genetic experiment. And from what we can see, he was once a human. That's what is implied with this episode, and it makes it even more obvious with the ending conclusion of this episode of Assassination Classroom, because right at the end, after the ending song, we have a little scene that says that there's going to be 2 new assassins coming to the classroom. That's going to be where Koro-Sensei is teaching, and these 2 new assassins have superhuman type abilities. For instance, they've been experimented on, and they now have like these superhuman abilities, kind of like Koro-Sensei. It lets us know, and it implies that Koro-Sensei was once a human and he was experimented upon. And this makes me start thinking. Soon as that was introduced in this episode, it made me start thinking about a couple of things. So, we did see in the first episode of Assassination Classroom, Koro-Sensei looked slightly different. Like, in the flashback we saw in the first episode, he looked more human, statured, like he looked really different. And also, on top of that, he had someone he loved. And I'm going to assume that the one that he loved probably got killed by the government, or maybe experiments, or something like that. Maybe the person that died might have been, like, the doctor that was experimenting on Koro-Sensei. I'm assuming that. I'm assuming it's something along the lines of that, and maybe she died trying to save Koro-Sensei from what was probably happening to his body, and that probably is what led him to taking over and trying to destroy the world. So that's what I think is going on here. That's what I feel like they're trying to imply. But the episode, man, that foreshadowing, I see that. I see that. That drop of information would not be there if it wasn't important for the future of the series. Now, I don't know if this topic has been covered once again in the later parts of the manga. I know you guys on the manga, you've been telling me that I should really read Assassination Classroom because it's getting really freaking good, and there's some really good foreshadowing, as some of you have been telling me, and I'm half tempted to read ahead of the anime, but I'm loving the anime, and a bunch of you manga readers have told me that the anime is doing the manga justice. It is animating almost everything, so I really don't want to read ahead because the anime is actually doing what it should do, surpassing the manga in different aspects, and that's what it's doing. So we'll just have to see how it goes from there. But the thing was, okay, with this episode of Assassination Classroom, besides the obvious setup for future plot points, this episode was very fun, relaxing, and it can be split up into 2 different segments. You have the first segment of the episode. You get to see from a different perspective of this vacation, the school student trip, and you see how this assassin was hired by the government to assassinate Koro-Sensei. And as we already know, like Vich-sensei's already shown, traditional assassins really can't take out Koro-Sensei because they are not really, ingenuitive enough to where they could think around and go outside the box of the standard traditional assassination attempts. And so Koro-Sensei pretty much schooled that assassin. Like, he destroyed that assassin. The assassin couldn't do anything to him at all. But you had some, connection between these 2 characters in the middle half of the episode. And it just goes to show you how Koro-Sensei, as a person, he can change people. And he has this aura about him that really changes people's personas and makes them think for the better. And that's a really cool character trait I love from Koro-Sensei, and that was once again demonstrated in the middle section of this episode, in the first half of the episode. Now, that first half of the episode is pretty simple, just trying to assassinate Koro-Sensei, and that is the basics of it. The second half of the episode, that's when the real beef of the episode starts coming in. Now, before I actually dive into that beef of the second half, the episode, it didn't really have much to the moral section when it came to the other episodes of Assassination Classroom. Like I've been saying for the past couple weeks now, Assassination Classroom has been playing with these morals and stuff, and making it look like with these different ideals of different students, or how this society works. This episode didn't really have that. This episode was mainly just a chill down and relaxing episode that was just letting us, see the characters interact, along with getting some setup for Koro-Sensei and setup for whatever we're about to get into with this upcoming arc. Now, let's dive into the second half of the episode. The second half of the episode, you can kind of say it's like love type conversations going on. Like, it's a stereotypical type, I guess, vacation, where girls are talking about the guys who they like, and then the guys talk about the girls they like, and then, you know, there's just these awkward conversations between them, and you have it to where Koro-Sensei sneaks in on these two different groups and just wants to hear the love gossip. That right there, pretty freaking funny, but that eventually led into the serious moments of the episode with that love gossip, because Koro-Sensei has a lot of things hidden. Like, he's not letting us know anything about his backstory. He hasn't let on anything. The only thing we really know about Koro-Sensei after this episode is that maybe he was once human, and he used to have a past lover that died on him, and that was the first episode. That's the only thing we really know about Koro-Sensei when it comes to his past. And in this episode, the girls were asking him that question, like, you need to tell us your love life and stuff like that, and he didn't. He was, like, very shy and he ran away. So there's probably going to be some really major important things with that aspect of romance to Koro-Sensei in the near future, and that's what I felt like this episode was really trying to do. Mainly set up, not for the next episode, but for a way down the road future arc. So that's the episode. That's the episode of Assassination Classroom this week. How do you feel about this episode? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? What's your favorite moments about it? You all have a wonderful day or not, wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.